Now let's talk about electrical. Um, Again, because we were doing something that had hardly ever been seen by the regular trades. Um, every electrician that I had called to come in and give me a quote to do the rough-in electrical, um, either they never came back with a quote after they saw what the job was, and by the way, a lot of them were really really busy with some of your just regular traditional jobs. Some of them were just really busy with. It just seemed like getting an electrician up here was really tough. Um, and the fact that we did not have ceilings over the bedrooms, we had this 15-foot 4 sidewall or firewall that was going up. We had uh, a control panel, a circuit breaker panel that was on one side of the building that's all the way in the far corner. Um, the quotes that we did finally get a quote from one electrician who actually came 80 miles up here to give me a quote. And for labor alone, not labor alone and no material, just labor. That was just him. I volunteered to him that I would help him run wire. I would bring in friends to help run wire, drill holes, additional labor to get up to code and to get wires run through this whole building. Um, the quote that I got was over $4,000. That's just for some expertise. And that was just way out of the budget, way out of the budget. So I took on the job of running the electrical myself. Got some of my friends to come here. Our carpenter, Jerry, who was helping me, was also helping me with running wires. And I designed the electrical system. I guess I could have done a better job when I think about it now. But I ran all the electrical. And from my estimate, initial estimate, and I think it's a little bit more than that, but we ran about 2,000 feet of wire, 2,000 feet of wire in this building to get electrical to all the different places. Now, understand that we didn't have a regular attic over the living areas, so we had to find routes either by sidewalls and coming down, or through. We actually ran up on that back wall. You would see that the firewall looks like a freeway. Probably drilled 6 or 7 holes and on each stud to get all of our wires through from that far corner on the northeastern side all the way over to the living quarters. And that itself was about a week and a half job of running wires and hooking up and testing and all of that stuff before we could actually insulate and cover the walls. So, and then too, what we had to do was there was an existing light system in here, all LED, 4 foot lights up at the 15-foot 4 level, up up on the ceiling, and I knew I didn't want to use those lights, but I also didn't want to run, you know, lights down to the 8 foot level from the 15-foot 4, and didn't want lights up that high because it just wasn't light enough. So the decision was made that we were going to try and use as much of the outside walls to hang lights at around 8 feet, and then use some of the inside walls that we put up that are at 8 feet and hang lights off of that. So that itself also created a little bit of quandary and running a lot of wires, trying to get around doors and just trying to get them in and getting all the outlets in, created its own set of problems, which explains why, by the way, when we send drawings and reached out to electricians, why they'd never seen anything like this before, and it was probably very difficult for them to quote and come up with a price that we could work with. But here we are. All of our lights are inside here. Majority of our lights are hung at 8 feet. along sidewalls or along all of the outside walls and all of the sidewalls. And then we added a big 10-foot ceiling fan that runs constantly to move all the air and all the heat up that's up at the ceiling down, and all of the cool air down, moving it all around the building to cool a majority of the building. And so far, that 10-foot fan has been very helpful in keeping us nice and comfortable at about 68 to 72 degrees down here at ground level. So that's where we are.
Kitchen.
Oh, the kitchen lights. Because we have an island sitting out in the middle, and you probably can't see it from the video here, we had to put a track of lighting right over the island and run that light down. And what Stacy did is she got some really fancy custom lights that she made herself to hang over the island. So we've got these big long cords that are coming down, but I wanted to limit that. I didn't want to do many more of that. I just wanted to keep, we both agreed that we wanted to keep most of this fairly open, so that you could walk in here and look up and not see lights that were difficult to dust, etc. So that's our electrical situation. We passed electrical, even though I did it myself. Man, I read those code over and over and over again. The electrical inspector was very helpful in pointing out some things that would be helpful for me to kind of accomplish some things. That's the nice thing about doing it as a homeowner as compared to being contractor. They can be very tough on contractors. But we're fairly happy with the lighting here. We could probably do a little bit better, but it works. And work for the next people that might own this place when we leave. So that's our electrical situation. We're going to move on to the wall coverings, and Stacey's going to cover that.